just expected things to continue, like, oh, this is good enough, or like, just expecting that the status quo would be enough, and that it wasn't. So if you're not continuing to just rethink what is the next best thing, and how can I implement that and provide that value for our members, for our experience, or whatever it is, I think it can catch up with you, because you won't stay the best if you're not thinking that way.
All right, welcome back to the Brotherhood Beyond Business podcast. Today, I'm pumped. I've got Marshall Ray on here. I've known Marshall Ray for several years. Marshall Ray is, first off, he is a husband, father. He's a father of two, son and daughter. Marshall has, we're going to talk about a little bit, probably several dealings in real estate that he and his wife tag team, as far as I understand. And then Marshall has been a gym owner of Faster Fitness for 14 years now. And I've been privileged enough to know Marshall long enough that I know how his life and his focus has changed, like just like mine. Like it's like this, right? Not necessarily up and down, but it's just, I don't know. You can almost allude to like a pinball machine or something. Sometimes if you look back at your life and you're like, it was headed this direction, and it was like, boom, and it went this way. And it's just interesting to think about. So we're going to dive into all that stuff today, and everybody's going to learn about Marshall. I'm excited to have this conversation because I enjoy doing this because we get to catch up. So Marshall, thanks for coming on, man. Thanks for spending some time with me today.
Joe, you're my man. Nothing but love and respect, and one of my favorite people in the world. And I'm extremely excited just to hang out, catch up, and learn a thing or two from each other, man. Every conversation I grow from. So looking forward to it.
Cool. All right. So we met through business coaching.
Yes, sir.
I guess now it would be maybe 10 years ago, something like that, right? Like, because when did your business open? What year?
January 2012.
12. So mine was 13. We probably met like fifth. I always tell everybody, I've told this story on like 2 different podcasts. The way I got included in business coaching in that organization was I signed up for a 30-day trial. And if you didn't cancel, you got locked into 12 months. I forgot to cancel. So then I looked at it and I was like, all right, it's game time. How am I going to do this? I'm going for it. So that was where I saw live meetings. I told Nick that the other day. Dude. He thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But so I remember looking and saying, all right, they have live meetings every quarter. This is a new concept to me, getting in a room with other business owners, learning from them and asking questions. I have no idea what to expect. And I got into that room and I remember I was hooked after that. But the way that Nick puts it, so Nick is the guy that ran the meetings for us, is that was one of the heaviest hitting rooms that they ever had, at least at that point, without having a separate mastermind group. And I take that to heart because I was in that room, but Marshall was in that room. Mark Greenwood, I believe, was in that first meeting. And then there was, there was another guy who's like a chef now, and he does something totally different, but he was part of like a PT and fitness business. Will Savoy was there that time.
Yep.
I remember. I mean, I think Izzy was in it.
There's some talent.
But it was, yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know. Was that your first meeting?
That was my first in-person meeting. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was for me too. So
our first in-person meeting was the same.
Yeah. And did we not work out together? Didn't you? I remember, was that the first meeting? You threw out there, you were talking.
The first or second meeting, but like I vividly remember like doing deadlifts together and like, hitting the YMCA or whatever it was that we did. I remember that in Louisville, 100%. Yeah.
I remember like we barely knew each other. You were like, I don't know what everybody's doing. I'm going to deadlift after this. And I was like, I'll go with you. Yeah. I love to deadlift. Let's go deadlift. That's what we did.
That was a great time.
Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah. Definitely one of those pivotal moments and was so valuable as a business owner, and just to create that support and inspiration and whatnot. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like how impactful was that first meeting, being in a room with people advising us and around other business owners that are all in the same business? Like
significantly.
Yeah. Dude, I knew I was in that room and I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be in more of these. I know I'm where I belong. Everybody's talking about the same things. We're all dealing with being lonely at the top, stuff like that. Like
for sure.
It was so impactful. So you had your business. Let's talk about you. You had your business for like a couple years at that point, but before you opened Faster Fitness, what were you doing?
So I got my personal training certification. I was actually studying for it my senior year of high school. I got it right after I graduated. So I'm in September of 2004 is when I started personal training, like originally at Lake Bally's. To answer your question directly, I was a one-on-one like personal trainer for 8 years at 3 different gyms over that course of time.
What changed? What happened? Why did you want to open your own gym or your own business in general, right? That's the conversation, but it just happens to be a gym.
Yeah, yeah. I remember just I fell in just in love because I was a finance major in marketing finance, and I thought I was going to be like dealing stocks and stuff like that, and like helping people with their retirement plans, and whatnot. And obviously, like there's I'm passionate about that too. When you graduate in '08, it was like in your
Oh,
that just
yeah.
happened. That was a bad window.
Uh-huh.
There's people with 25 years experience that are like just out, just got like fired. So it wasn't the best job market timing on my behalf. But really, like completely independent of that, I just remember working with several clients and getting just like amazing results with them and like just changing their life and just the impact that it made. And it is, how it is, it fish hooks you, right? You can't help
Hmm.
but be obsessed with it, and feel like it's your purpose and your calling. And I remember at the last gym that I was at, I was charging like 85 a session, and I'm working with clients 3 days a week, and it was a little more affluent kind of crowd, which was nice. But I was really, really limited, and I was like, I wasn't limited. It was limited the number of people I could work with, right? And I was like, there's just a better way here. And obviously got really deep in science and just understanding what is the best results. And I mean, to think back, that was 2010, 2011 versus today, or even 5 years ago, science has evolved so much, but I just knew there was a better way. And so I was like, I wanted to have some personal training, but I want to start my own gym and give people an opportunity to get like world-class training at a reasonable, affordable rate.
Hmm.
And so that's where the concept of group personal training was born. Day one till now could not look any different, as you, I'm sure, would agree with your own program.
Yeah, man. So you've had two buildings, right? Like you started in one, and I know you moved years ago to the second one.
Yes, sir.
When over time you've grown, like what each session would hold, right? You didn't originally start out with as many people in a session, right? Like
Yeah,
what did it
it was
originally
like
like? Paint a picture from
16.
like the start.
Yeah, well, the oversimplification, it was like 16 people max, like 4 stations, 4 people, and then we just kind of made a couple of changes. Went to like a 3 station, blah blah blah. We changed a series of things. So then 16 became 18, which became 20, I think, at some point. But now we're at 24 session max for our strength days and 30 people max for our metabolic conditioning days.
Cool. So how big is the facility you have now?
59 foot,
How big? Do you remember how big the first one was?
1400.
What a difference, dude. I actually didn't know it was that big of it. I remember seeing some old pictures of you like coaching somebody at a yellow squat rack in that
Huge
first
difference.
one.
Yeah, it was like wavy floor and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
it was like GPS didn't find us. So like I had to call when people had their initial like coaching session. I had to basically like say, hey, just call me and let me know, like whenever you're close and like you see the guy waving over here, like, yeah, yeah, look to the right. That's me. Like
Yeah.
I kid you not, every single time, like I had to do it. So humble beginnings for sure. But we're blessed to be in a beautiful facility and have a great community now for sure.
So let's say it's back when you moved from the smaller facility to the bigger facility. What was that, like 16, 17?
At the
I
end
feel
of
like.
2015.
Okay. What is your grand vision for Faster Fitness at that point?
At that point, I wanted to have 4 locations, 3 to 4 locations, I don't know, and obviously have an amazing, like, base community, um, group personal training and like, semi-private personal training were, like, were always our go-to 2 programs that we ran, at separate areas. You know, I just kinda wanted to have, again, just good presence, like, with the way St. Louis is kinda laid out. um, 3 locations would be theoretically feasible was my thought process at the time. I thought it'd be kind of cool. I had the number of 1,000 members in my mind. I'm like, this would be so cool to have 1,000 members, across
I
all.
remember that number.
Yeah, exactly. You remember seeing that number? You remember hearing me say it out loud? But that was the goal, and it was a 10-year goal, but that was the goal.
And you were crushing then too. Like you had more members, your revenue was higher. Like, yeah, you were killing it. I mean, I remember
My,
everybody was
my
kind of
20
on the
my
up.
2016 year was ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah.
we increased like we basically almost doubled it, like in our 2016 year. It was like nuts. Yeah.
So tell me about that. If you can remember, like when you just about double in business, like that's almost double the amount of people. You got to hire more staff. You got to look at your systems. Did
It wasn't quite
anything
double. It was probably like 80%, but like it was a
that's
significant
that's
increase.
significant. It's huge. I
Yeah, yeah,
mean,
for sure.
that doesn't happen anymore.
No. Oh my
I
God,
don't know
no.
how that would happen anymore. We don't have any new marketing platforms that everybody just jumps on. You know what I mean? It wasn't. But what broke? Like, what did you have to fix? What was something that you felt like you were unprepared for with that much growth? Or was it just steady enough to where you were, and did you have the foresight to just have fixed the systems that needed to be fixed?
Oh God, no. I thought everything was like, oh, it's always gonna be like this. Like there's only one path. There's not another option. But you know what the problems are sometimes until they come your way.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, could you repeat your question one more time? Sorry, to make sure I give you the best
So,
answer.
like, what specifically when you have that much growth, a lot of businesses and really people don't know how to handle it. All right. You had coaching, which helps a lot, but there's still people who might have coaching, might be entrepreneurs that like growth is a bad thing for them. Like really, like growth is probably, people don't talk about it much. I heard it phrased this way the other day. Like growth is one of the hardest parts of business, even though it sounds great in theory, but growth means if you want to maintain the growth that you've had, right? Like you want to get here and at least level off, you have to have the people and the systems in place to be able to serve whatever it is, the number of people or number of product support, whatever it is. And if you grew by 80% in a year at a gym, that's a lot of people to serve, right? Like people who are needy, who might not be happy, who might not be getting results, who might not be showing up. So all of that to preface, like, do you remember any specific things breaking systems wise or something that overwhelmed you or that you had to really go for or had to fix?
To be honest, there's not really any one thing per se at that time because I was really like more cognizant and put more emphasis on like capacity probably than I than some other people. Like because in my mind I was like, I want to have 3 locations. I want this to run without me. So I just worked the math back. I'm like, all right, well, how big would sessions have to be? How big X, Y, and Z? But to that point, there were a lot. I'm oversimplifying. So a lot of little steps. Like you were asked about, like what was your model, and without getting too granular, like how many stations or how many this or this, and like basically every year or sometimes 6 months, we'll just like make some new splash like investment to take the next step, take the next step, take the next step, and that kind of helped us to kind of get through that time. But honestly, nothing really was breaking in 2016. Like we were I to oversimplify, we were kind of trending a little bit, and we just kind of rode that wave. And like we were a great program, and it was really unique. And between like all like a lot of basically everything marketing wise just kind of worked.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so whenever the Wednesday you're back, like things just kind of grow quick. But you know, there's ebbs and flows in business. So again, that's only one part of the story. You know what I mean?
You told me something one time that I never forgot about logistics. I don't know if you remember the quote exactly because I have trouble remembering the quote. I feel like it was from a book, but it was something like, it was something like managers, I don't know, focus on, I don't know, number of members or something, but leaders focus on logistics. And that kind of came through right there in what you were talking about, right? Like the logistics of how do I continue to offer a consistently high level experience to 80% more people, or, let's say we grew 10% this month, 10% the next month, right? You were like, you looked at your numbers, reverse engineered, and then that gives you like an idea of where to aim, right? But then you're like, all right, well, we need this much equipment. We need this many spaces for people. Coach maybe needs to have a microphone now,
Yep.
all that
Yep.
stuff. That was a lesson I learned from you that led to me really dialing in that part of the experience.
Thank you. And I've learned many from you as well, my friend.
Yeah. All right. So big growth 2016, thinking your goal is to have 1,000 people at once, right? Between 3 to 4 locations, working, impacting the lives of 1,000 people. COVID happens. What starts to change, or does anything change? Or maybe it was your kids. Like what?
I think I might have misspoke. Sorry, let me cut you off, and I want to make sure to hear your question.
You're good.
I might be incorrect on which year. 2016 was a good growth year, but I think 2019 was the year that we grew like.
I remember 400 plus members
Percent.
that year. That's what I remember from you.
So to your point, what happened? COVID happens, right? Here's
Mm-hmm.
what I remember. I remember being at 365 members,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe it's 362 members. For sure, there was like 360 or more members. And I remember I trained every other Wednesday night, which is our Metcon sessions at that time. And I remember telling our members literally 10 days, 7 days before COVID hit, we were being like, hey guys, I'm sad to say that today's my last day training because I have to start working on our hope and goal, our big picture vision of having a second location. I swear to God, I said that to our members. 7 days later, that happened, right? So our
Yeah.
membership went from 360 down to like 250,
Like during
right?
COVID.
Yeah, because I mean, we were, I mean, like everybody, we were closed for 3 months, right? But then also just the ripple effect, some people not feeling comfortable. And then honestly, we had a really tough time trying to juggle, you know, like do the mask, do not do the, and so we kind of try to be a little bit cautious but like we basically were just trying to like you try to
Survive,
be as
right?
neutral, yeah, survive, right? You know what I'm saying? And just get through it and like just basically piss as few people off as possible, and which was just impossible.
Yes. Yep.
But you know what I mean? Like just trying to
I
find
do.
that sweet spot, if you will. So dips down to like 250, and then 2021 was a great year. We surged back up and got up to about 310 members, I want to say, for sure above 300, which was fantastic, and we were thrilled with that. And then over the course of the next couple years, our membership has actually like just dropped down kind of steadily the last couple years.
Hmm.
Last year was a good year, and we grew like 15%, which is really good. But I mean, we kind of hover in like the 215 range now. But I stepped back last summer and I was looking at all the different aspects of the business, and I was like, basically, one, like what is profitable, what is not, and also just like in terms of just stress and how it, like from a coverage standpoint and finding talent and like and whatnot. And it's ironic because Mike McAllowitz, right, the pumpkin plan kind of thing. And I kept coming back to like our personal training program caused so much more stress than it was worth. And I went back and looked the last 5 years over the course of that time. It literally made like $1,000 over 5 years,
Oh,
because we had
yeah.
a good year. I mean, it like depending on how you look at it, right? But we had to replace somebody every single year, and that's a super long onboarding, and it was hard to
Hmm.
be like the faster fitness way. So I closed it down. And so I mean, there's an opportunity, but I'll say I just know this wasn't the right move at that time. So close that down. We just focus on group training now, and since then our focus is really, it's improved, right? And so that, I think it's a catalyst because we're not worrying about covering and doing all this extra stuff. We can just focus on delivering what we're best at for our clients. And I think that's part of the reason why we've grown. So
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I think I'd be interested to know how many. I mean, I look at industry data, like Two Brain Business puts out industry data from like over 6,000 to, it used to be 10,000, I think, gyms. Depends on how many answer, I guess. And they get some pretty good data. But I would say my gym has, like, we were never that high in numbers, but we did get higher than ever at the same like time period. And it's been steadily, the number of people has been steadily decreasing over the last few years, but the revenue hasn't necessarily decreased,
nice,
which has been really, that's just because so many people were on old low prices, and like
for
we'd be
sure.
losing those. And now people are on higher prices and stuff, more marketable, what we're worth type prices. But it is interesting to hear you talk about that flow, because I think ours has been very, very similar to
Yeah,
that. Um, Go ahead.
I think you're speaking to like macro trends, right? Like what is going on in society. And I thought about like whenever student loans payments were all suddenly like due again, like how many people had student loan payments, so all of a sudden like, hey, now you got to pay $400 a month for this. Or
Yeah.
um like myself, we had to move, and our first interest rate was 8% a couple years ago, which now we're down to 6%. But like I think that's literally the top 20% of interest rates on houses of anybody in the country. And
Yeah.
so how
Like
many
at
other
at
people
the
are
high,
in
yeah.
the position. So there's those macro trends. But as you know, I'm a big firm believer in the extreme ownership model and really just learning from everything. So I think there's a lot of things that we made mistakes on. And again, to clarify, 21, 22, we were going up. 23, 24, we went down. And last year we went back up like 15 or so percent. Um,
Hmm.
but it should have been 20%, but clerical stuff. But somewhere in that range. But we're on the right track again, and we're continuing to evolve and trying to do new things that and just continue to renovate. And that's one thing I think in hindsight, I just expected things to continue, like, oh, this is good enough, or like, um, just expecting that the status quo would be enough,
Hmm.
and that it wasn't. So if you're not continuing to just rethink what is the next best thing and how can I implement that and provide that value for our members, for our experience, or whatever it is, I think it can catch up with you, because you won't stay the best if you're not thinking that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's hard to, I think that's very important. And it's hard. You have to be able to, I think this comes with like experience, you have to be able to tell the difference between chasing a shiny object or effectively, and I think you've done a good job with this, because we just discussed equipment changes and adding a microphone to your coach, right? Like stuff over the years, like knowing the difference between chasing a shiny object, like just new equipment, or adding equipment or something to whatever the business is that's going to improve the experience for your clients. And it's also, you could say innovate or keep up with trends without abandoning your values for whatever they are for your business.
Yeah, your core like program and what you're basically what you're trying to do with your members, right? If you're not trying to be like hard to go too extreme with the cardio or too extreme with whatever direction is of the fitness, format that you're trying to provide for clients. So I'm
Yeah,
picking
I
up
mean,
exactly what you're putting down.
yeah, like we can shift gears, but we can do it without abandoning what we do best.
Absolutely.
And it keeps it interesting. I think that applies to all business, like generally, right? Like you're finding ways to survive, but you have to innovate. Like a good example that I learned the other day was like, Peloton like took off during COVID, mainly because of equipment and the service. And people stopped buying the equipment. They were selling the equipment, but people really loved their instructors and the experience of the instructors and things. So they learned that they got a new CEO, and they basically pivoted to focusing on just selling the service itself.
Model. Yeah.
Right. Like
Yeah.
they
Which
innovated,
has
they
a
changed.
higher like, like multiple anyway
Mhm.
versus like just selling equipment. But I mean, which is smart, but they also plummeted like 70 or 80%. So
Yeah, people stopped sinking money into them too, right? Like it was very in line with, like, you could even look at CrossFit as a whole, and if you look at the line of growth financially, and when people were investing chunks of money into these businesses, like CrossFit in general and Peloton's was very, very similar, like
really,
almost the same when you put them side by side. Yeah, it's really,
that's
really interesting.
crazy.
I guess
Crazy.
it's a common life cycle for a lot of new businesses when money's being injected and growth is fast, and then it starts to change, and then only the best ones really survive after that money stops being injected into it. Or
Yeah,
you get a great
absolutely.
leader, like you get Peloton, they shifted, right? They changed the way they were doing things.
Absolutely.
So speaking of changing things, like go from wanting 3 or 4 locations with your business to, when did you have your son? Your daughter was first, excuse me. So that was roughly
Yeah, she was
6 years.
September 2019. He was 2021.
Okay. So yeah, so that was close together too. That was 2 of them very close together. I mean, I guess that's how my 2 young ones were. Did anything, I mean, I remember we were still in a group together when your daughter was born and growing. And I remember having a conversation. I feel like you teared up a little bit one time talking about her. We were having a conversation at Pamela's gym, which is very easy to do, because if anybody's not a girl dad, like it's like falling in love again. The same, in a similar way to how you did with your wife. Like I look in my daughter's eyes and like I can't even think. Like I just stare into her eye. It's not the
Oh, yeah.
same with my son. My
Yeah.
son, I'm like, I'm gonna pick you up and I'm gonna throw you and you're gonna love it. You know what I mean? And you feel good. But with her, man, it's different.
Yeah, for sure. She owns my heart without question.
Yeah, dude. So did you change once your kids came? Did your vision change at all at that time?
It definitely did, but it wasn't like exclusively, or not obviously, it's like a percentage, right? Partially because of my family and lifestyle, but also it was just presented right there, right? I guess whenever you have kids, it's just an instant priority shift, right? And family first. But obviously, we're so blessed with the opportunity to serve our members and our community and to make an impact, in so many ways that we don't even see on a day to day basis. Like, this person got a new job because they met somebody here,
Hmm.
and boom, 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 boom. I hear stories like that, like not all the time, but I hear them throughout the year, and it's like so amazing to hear stuff like that. But I just kind of started just realizing this is simplicity, like when you can't just be the hustler, and not only just me, but my team also, right? I had some amazing, great friends, and still do that, work, and that we just made it happen, right? Like if there was covers, we just came in, made it happen, things like that. But then now you have 2 kids, and like my general manager actually today is just welcome a second baby boy into the world.
Oh,
And
right on.
and our team is just evolving and whatnot. And you know we need to be able to be great fathers and mothers first, right? But
Hmm.
also make this kind of fit our lifestyle. So just kind of finding the sweet spot from those things. But honestly, a couple of things that kind of led to me to the decision of not wanting multiple locations. One, to be completely honest with you, objectively speaking, I felt like the business opportunity wasn't quite as strong. Now, if our marketing suddenly took major turns where it just like, hey, I want to triple my ad spend here, and it's just I get triple the results. then that'd be great. But here, newsflash, it's never happened, right?
It doesn't work anymore like that. No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can do it to a degree, but there's leveling points, and I've tested it. And there's this invisible line where you're literally just burning everything above that line. And so,
The algorithms have changed, right? Like they want to find a way to spend your money like as
yeah,
fast as possible.
absolutely. Absolutely. So, and so from a business standpoint, I recognize it wasn't just the best opportunity, but the thought that kind of came into my mind that really made me completely change my thought on originally wanting, 3 locations of Faster Fitness, which partially was because I wanted my team to have growth as well. And I wanted to make an impact all throughout St. Louis. And I wanted people, I believe then, I still do, and our mission so strongly and the value that is provided from our program. I wanted just so many people to experience it. But then I just kind of recognized, like, more isn't better, right? If we just had one amazing location in just super tight community where like everybody just knows each other and it's just a fun environment, like that's so special. And I think that's what is best for me and our team moving forward, right? But I mean, again, I'll never say never, but at this point in time, it's not something that I'm actively considering
I
now
think
or in the future.
it's great that you figured that out without having a second location first or without, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, I learned a lot of lessons having a second location and really just from the stress at home standpoint and what it brings. I mean, shoot though. I mean, you still had at one point as many members at one location as I had at 2 locations. So you probably learned a lot from that, just serving that many people as you were still still heavily in the business then. I mean, at least there every day. But it's cool. It's cool that you were wise enough to make that decision, but also never say never. Like I understand, like, I don't know that we're able to say never as entrepreneurs, like at all. Like that's not how we roll usually.
Yeah, well, I mean, I want to be objective, right? Because it can look different ways than what you're thinking about. Because I've had friends of mine be like, "Dude, I literally could help you franchise," and I'm like, I mean, I'm not doing it, but if you want to do it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, though, it's easy to make that ask, and like, what does that actually look like, So I don't know. I think just think about what is the sweet spot there, and then there's also other opportunities and other things that you can spend your time on too,
The big return.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So and empower my team to continue to crush it and own it and to provide the value for all of our members and experience and just to enjoy the ride. So it's not just about growth. You get what I'm saying?
I do. I understand wholeheartedly what you're saying. It's not just about growth. And I learned that through that second location I had and I closed it. And like I met some great people there. We were starting to build a stronger community, but I personally just didn't hold people accountable the way I should have there. I needed to be there more. And I just decided that wasn't where I was at in my life. And I have learned the exact lesson that you're talking about. Like, it's not always about growth. And you're not like letting yourself down by saying that. Like I mean, my God, children bring so much enjoyment into your life. I mean, the ability to be able to we homeschool our kids. Like I can homeschool my kids because we have the lifestyle to do so. I used to be able to go pick my kids up when they went to school, right? Like, and imagine the audacity to complain about something like that. Like when there's so many people who can't do that. Like we've been fortunate, but we've also put in the work to get the lifestyle that we have now. Like we understand when you're dealt whatever hand you're dealt, whether it's through people having to wear masks or not, or them fighting over it, whatever it is, like we're going to find a way to make this work because we're the providers we're providing for our family. Like we've got something above us and bigger than us.
Well said, brother.
It's interesting. You talk about some of the multiple location thought process was also to create opportunity for your staff.
For sure.
Because this is a burden I don't know everybody understands. It's a privilege and an opportunity, but it is a heavy one.
Oh, for sure. If you if you really care about your staff, like you really care about them, to some degree, I'm not saying it motivates you more than, but I mean, it's right there as much as like,
really is.
Well, this could, but like, because you want them to grow. And honestly, there's an expectation, like if you were to get a job in this sales company or this or that, like people expect growth. Cause again, we're all through social media, through just the expectations of 2026, like growth. Like if you're not growing, you're dying, like,
yeah, I know what you mean.
So there's some of that motivation as well, but ultimately you just want what's best for them. You want them to make more money. You want them to have a better lifestyle. You want them to live their dream life and to be a part of something huge that they're super proud of. But yeah, that's definitely one of the main motivating factors, honestly.
Well, it feeds, I hate to say this, it feeds into you, or it feeds into me too. Like when you have a staff that is bought into what you're doing and they want to make more money doing it for you, not just make more money, but like they just want to see it grow and blossom and be a part of that. It's so rewarding. And it's like in our business specifically, it's not always the easiest business to provide multiple full-time opportunities to other people if we're still significantly like bringing an income home from the business, right? Like you've got to really push, you have to find ways, and you're wanting to provide the lifestyle for your family and kids, even when spouses work. It's still for most men, it's still our main focus is providing and protecting. And then now you're like, well, I have that wing, and now I've got another wing of people who I'm in charge of providing for too. And for some reason, I care almost just as much about providing a lifestyle for them as I do my own family, just kind of in a different way. And it's a thing to deal with, right? And it leads to us having thoughts of, oh, if I just had more locations and they could go work here and they could work here, or they could become the manager there. And it's like, you got to have the right people in your corner to help guide you with that stuff.
Right.
Or be very
Absolutely.
objective and numbers based like you are, I guess, too.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I could not agree more with what you're saying, but the quote unquote solution that I came up with was if we just become the healthiest business possible, I can take care of the people that are here now and continue to progress. That it just may look a little bit different. So like now, like my general manager is like one of my best friends, and we've adjusted his hours to and pay X, Y, and Z, and all these things to make sure that his lifestyle is great. And that he's happy with it. And so but when you have the respect and like love for each other, but I feel like part of it is also almost like you're on a team. Let's say imagine like sports team in high school or whatever it is, and like you're getting down together, you're pushing together, like you're going to battle together per se. Like you want each other to win so bad, like both individually but also as a team. So there's a lot of layers to it, but I mean, again, that's one of the most rewarding parts of what we do. Like we call it the Faster family, but like really our staff is like family for sure.
Oh my gosh. And it's become, I feel like I said that for years about BFP, like for whatever reason with members, with staff. And then now it's never been more true than it is now. Like, I don't know if that's an age related thing, like, or a season of life, or if it's because of, maybe it's a season of how long we've owned our businesses. Cause we're very, very similar times in owning our businesses. All right. So kind of gone through that, talked about where you're at with Faster Fitness now, but tell me more about what you and Savannah do as far as real estate goes.
Yeah. So she's a pharmacist and continues to practice and loves that. And basically we flip houses also. So and it's looked different ways. I mean, I would probably won't go through all the chapters there, but that's looked different ways. And she actually initially like was the one that really took the reins and started with multiple houses. I think she flipped like 12 houses or more, probably a little more than that,
Yeah.
like on her own completely, and like I helped a very, very, very little bit, just like basically just making sure that like financially things just kind of like came together. But she did like 99% of it. Obviously, she wasn't like doing the work; she had contractors doing the work. But like from finding the houses and
She
designing
was a
it,
decision
and
maker.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, she ran the show, But then I got excited and got into it. Did one new build, which was a
Not a
great
flip, just
learning.
a new build.
Yeah, I did a full like knockdown new build, like 3,800 square foot, 6 bed, 5 bath.
Okay.
And it was a lot of fun, learned a tremendous amount, but it was like a 18, 20 month project. So very long timeline, but I learned again, tremendous amount. And since then, and she did a new build also. And since then have just shifted exclusively to just like doing house flips, which it oversimplifies, it waters it down basically. But we're completely renovating and making these houses beautiful, making them sound strong houses that are gonna last for a long time. And it's definitely something that's very rewarding and very fun. And it's a great compliment to Faster, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are like a power team, man. It's great to be able to do things with your wife too, especially once you figure out the right way to do them and to communicate. It took me a long time to figure out the best way for Melody and I to work together. And she just over the years wanted to be more and more involved with BFP. And we found
It's
ways
been
to
really
do that.
cool from the outside to watch, because
Yeah.
for a long time that wasn't the case, but like now she's seemingly just like thriving, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, generally her videos are going to do better than mine, right? Like her ads and things are going to do better. And she loves the nutrition coaching. She's already had a heart for it because she was a nurse. So she's very compassionate. And she was primarily working in endocrinology, which was heavily nutritional education based
Yeah,
work anyway. So
right.
it's been a good transition for her. And it allows us to do some growing together. Like I'm sure when Savannah and you had to, I don't know, go learn from somebody, go to a conference or something, right? You go to these things together as opposed to, and you're both learning, you're both elevating each other like together, it's like a different ball game.
Yeah, for sure. You bond on a different wavelength, and there's an understanding. Like, I feel like since she's become, like, entrepreneurial in the sense of, starting to flip houses versus for sure before, and she said this multiple times, like, "I understand now, like, how it's hard to turn off. I understand you more now." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And,
Uh-huh.
like, why you are the way you are, do the things you do or whatever, and, yeah, it's really been great for our relationships, and there's been some challenges in the way. I'm
There
not gonna
always is.
sugarcoat that.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, we're still figuring out, like, what's the sweet spot of things like that, but, basically, just finding, "Hey, this is what you do best, this is what I do best, and let's just do that," kinda thing.
Let's do that. Let's do that, and let's talk about it every now and then, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So,
so you guys flip. You don't own any rental properties.
yeah, we do. We own one. We had 3, we sold 2. I think single family rentals are definitely, they can be a great opportunity, or, if it's apartment complexes and things like that, I think there's definitely great opportunity. It just, again, what the season you're in, the chapter you're in. Honestly, my mindset is just like the group training only. I'm like, I want to just focus on getting great and getting more efficient and more successful at renovating these beautiful homes, and getting better at that. And then, because it sounds, we definitely have multiple exit strategies. There's different things that we can do in real estate, and I don't want to get too much into it, but basically, we have options. But I try to pull that trigger and kind of narrow my focus a little bit, because honestly, one of the biggest problems with real estate is there's too many options. You could do this or this or this or this, or there's too many options that are readily available, and everybody's got like a deal for you, and like
It's
most of them
trendy.
are.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, an
it's
agent's like,
real.
"Oh, I got this off market house. It's so good," and they're like, you would absolutely lose. Like, you could pretty easily lose a lot of money flipping
Hmm.
houses, right? So people are like, "Oh, so I'm flipping houses." I'm like, "Good luck."
It's the same way with, like, if someone was like, "Hey, I want to start a gym," you'd be like, "Are you
Yeah,
sure?
yeah,
Let me
right.
tell you about it."
Yeah, 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 for sure. But no, it's a great opportunity. I love it for sure.
How much have you guys gotten from the first flip to now? Like, did it take a lot longer on the first one than it does now? Like, have you gotten that much more efficient?
Uh,
Like, when you're flipping a house, and that's not necessarily to sell it, but let's say, like, to bring it to market.
Yeah, I mean, it's an ebb and flow, right? Because we've changed over certain contractors, and sometimes you have to go with a cheaper guy for this project, or the more expensive but faster guy here, or who's better at scheduling. So much of flipping is about sequence. So, we've turned over houses. We're good but not great at it, right? And I think there's a lot of opportunity for improvement. So, like, we've done some in like 4 weeks. We've done some, or one in 4 weeks. We've done a few in like 12 weeks, but usually about 16 weeks is kind of like the average. Some more. We have like a big one we're working on right now that'll be like a 6-month project. Uh, it's a 4,000 square foot house. It
Big
takes
house.
3 times as longer than the house that's 1,200 square foot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But there's more to it than that. It doesn't have to take that long, but there's.
What's maybe you don't want to share this, but I'm gonna ask it anyway. What with faster fitness, is there an exit strategy in mind there at all that you've thought about? Or do you just happen to however, was your birthday in March also?
Yeah, March 18th.
You were very close to me. I feel like we had close birthdays, but maybe were you a little younger than me? How old are you?
Born 86, so I'm 39,
So
about to turn 40.
yeah, so you're about to turn 40. Yeah. So I just hit
Sir.
that last year. Yeah. So, it's a different I started thinking about a lot of things differently right around this time. Like, I mostly only think about how I'm going to provide wealth for my kids one day, like after I pass. But now there's this point where you're kind of in this decade where, at least for us specifically, and I know this happens to some people, I don't know what y'all's position is, but we essentially, you become responsible for the generation after you, and
Mhm,
potentially responsible for the generation before you.
mhm.
So, like, mother-in-law lives with us, she's fully independent, but she lives with us. Father-in-law we've recently been helping with his care. And then I've got
It's great to
my
hear.
dad and stepmother, and then stepdad and mother. So I don't know, we'll see where they go at some point, right? They're a little younger. So it's like lots of
Sandwich,
different
right?
thoughts who
The
never.
sandwich generation, they call it?
Yeah, yeah, dude. Like, I don't know. So as you're heading through things and you've got faster fitness, like, what are you thinking about these days? Like, anything changed? I mean, where's your head at?
A lot's changed, but I guess to answer your first question, do I have an extra strategy with faster fitness? And the answer is I honestly have never had an extra strategy. And I have, in the sense of, I want to be where theoretically is a transferable business, whether it would be somebody else who can carry on the torch, or my children, or somebody one day. Like, of course, you want
You don't want to just die.
yeah,
You do.
I don't feel like it's that successful of a business if you don't set it up to be able to be transferred where somebody else could pass on the torch theoretically. Because like if again, going back to the conversation before, what if I hit in a car wreck tomorrow? I want my general manager to be taken care of. I want my members to be taken care of, my staff, all of them, so my family, obviously, I want them I would want them to be able to carry on, right? It would look a little different, but yeah. But like, I really truly have like no aspirations of like selling or anything like that at all. So, I mean, obviously what it can look like over time would change, but I mean, I've trained more in the last 3 months than I have in the previous 5 years before that. And I've actually loved it. I absolutely loved it. And it's been amazing. And like, you know, it, yeah, I've seen coaches at 55 years old out there ripping it. And I'm like, I'm gonna be killing it at
I'm gonna
55,
be that guy. Yeah, right on, dude.
I just signed
That's
another
cool.
10-year lease with a 5-year option, so, I mean, we aren't going anywhere. But,
Okay.
so that was part 1 of your question, but part 2 was, I want to be a healthy business, obviously, and to fit everybody's lifestyle properly, because I deserve what my employees deserve as well, my family does. But what was the second part of your question, if you don't mind repeating it?
Like, just, yeah, I mean, what's on your mind? Maybe this is just me, but it's like I just feel like my thoughts, my focus, my priorities change as I got closer to this age, and just realizing where I'm at, what I need to be prepared for. There's other things I need to potentially be prepared for, like I talked about with before, kids and parents. Like, has anything changed for you as a dude, as a father and an entrepreneur? Like, has your priority changed? Has your focus changed at all? Like, or just kind of what you're thinking about as you get into like,
Man, it's tough to directly answer that. I feel like, if anything, my vision has gotten more gray, whereas before it was more like, "Oh, I can't do this," or, "Oh, I can't, like, I don't wanna work on this or this or that," and I'm being more I feel like I'm more flexible now, right,
uh-huh.
than in my thought process, like, the quality over, like, quantity, like Mark Greenberg and presented a while back, with family, whereas before I'll give you a good example, like, whereas before I felt like, there was a part of me that felt like if I didn't spend all day and just give like my 110% to my children all day on Saturday and Sunday, then like I was doing them a disservice to some degree, right? And now it's like, well, there's other things that got to get done too.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
like if you like, obviously, we want to make sure they're happy and they're taken care of, and X, Y, and Z. But just making sure that like all the priorities are taken care of and being a little more flexible. So I might miss. Like my kids that swim tonight, but my wife can take them. Like, we don't both have to take them. Whereas before, like, I'm there. I'm like, oh, of course, like, I got to be there. So I'm being more flexible in terms of that. But I guess partially, probably to your point, is I'm playing both short and long game, like making sure that like our needs are met in the short term between me and my wife. 'Cause obviously, it's not just me. Like, she works and is mom of the year. She's incredible. Thinking like long term, like how are we going to make sure that they have the lifestyle and that we're able to retire and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, like, to directly answer, I feel like I'm thinking more short term now
Mm-hmm.
than I have in several years. And I'm just thinking, how can I add as much value as possible to our clients at the gym? How can I just focus on the next most important thing, for real estate improvement or whatever it may be. And obviously, you have to be aware of things like that. But I'm not thinking about 3-year goals. I'm just not. I mean, I'm aware of it. I want to make sure that there's alignment, but like, I'm just not thinking about it. I'm just like so focused on the quarter or the most important objective, to make sure that we're on the right trajectory and path with whatever, you know, whether it's your family, business, or your career, whatever that may be. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I would say I'm 100% with you. Outside of worrying more than I ever have about the future of my kids, or like if I get dementia one day and I have to go in a nursing home, like how should I start buying insurance to potentially have something like that, right? Like, those are
Right.
thoughts I never ever had, ever.
Right.
But now it's a thought, it's there. But I love the word more. I like that you said gray, but also flexible, because maybe because we kind of came up the same. I don't know. But I'm very similar to that now. And even the business mentoring I get now, I would say, is more like that. It's not so much bigger rocks, working towards this 5-year. It's not. They even like scaled back a little bit on the annual review type situation this year because they found that people just weren't staying in alignment with it that they were coaching, even though they were trying to coach them to it. And I was like, wait, what are you doing? I got to have my annual plan. Like, I still love doing that.
Oh, for
But
sure.
yeah, it's, I think I could align exactly with what you said, or I could relate exactly to what you said. Right. And it potentially, it might even thinking that way, like allow you to be more in the moment with, just being thankful. Like people talk about like, I wish I knew the good old days when they were happening or whatever, but like, I feel like I can almost recognize those sometimes.
Absolutely.
Technically, because we have control over that, but also like being more mindful of like, I know how much joy it brings me to like lay on the floor with my kids and wrestle with them. And I'm not going to allow the thought of that client that just quit on me or is mad at me or whatever to affect this. Like as I'm
Absolutely.
laying here playing with my kids, like it's just not, I don't know, maybe priorities change, I guess, a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, and to your point, presence, especially with your family in those family time, those opportunities you have with your family, like presence is the secret. That's the answer. Like if you're just fully present, you're going to give them everything that you have, and they're going to give it back. And those are like the magic moments that you're going to make with them that you're going to look back on and be like, that was the best. When I reflect back on the 4 and 6 years with my
Hmm.
children, I was fully present in all those moments. And of course, if it's like a trip or something like that, it's very easy to be fully present because like there isn't other distractions. You're just so just enamored with the environment and whatever you're doing, like Disney World. I know you're a big Disney fan.
But yeah,
We went there and went a Disney cruise and other things like that. It obviously that's an easy way to kind of get in that mindset. But to your point, with intention, you can do it every single day.
you really can. Like, we just got like 10 to 12 inches of snow here, which is doesn't happen. It doesn't happen, right? Like, and it snowed really hard all through the night and it started during the day. But like now I have this new memory of my kids. My kids were out on the trampoline when it was snowing and they were jumping and it was like little ice balls, like little sleet and stuff. And I was like, this is boring, man. When other places are getting the snow, like when's this going to come? And you saw it start to change a little bit. And Melody and I were working out together in the garage. So we were kind of just vibing. Like we were just having a good time. It was a good workout, flirting and stuff. And looking out the window, seeing the snow change. And then I remember we came inside, we got done working out, and my kids were outside, and I saw it change completely to like regular snow. And we got a good snow last year that lasted for a week or two because the ground froze and all that. But I looked out there at my kids, and I'm like, "What do y'all think?" And they were just like, "It's snowing," and it's just, like little thing. It's the coolest. It's so their experiences matter so much.
Absolutely.
Like their pure, unfiltered joy brings me joy than probably most things
Oh
in
yeah.
life at this point.
Yeah, more than honestly, for me personally, it's like more than anything, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, it can't be the only thing you do, and we have to do
Yeah.
all this work and all this other stuff to be able to have those special moments. But yeah, I again, when those opportunities are there, just be fully there. Which of course we all have room for improvement, right? So like, I got that figured out, but definitely something that I think we all could work and do a better job of.
Yeah. Well, Marshall, dude, I appreciate your time, man. This has
Yeah,
been a good time. Great catching up. It was great learning some new things about you because I've been wanting to ask you about the real estate stuff for a while because you never really gotten to talk about that.
yeah,
To hear the family's doing great, and I love just hearing what you're doing with Faster Fitness because we used to talk about that stuff daily
oh yeah,
for years.
yeah.
So great to catch up on that too, man.
Yeah, definitely more to talk about at a later conversation between the two of us. But I just to learn from each other and continue to grow. But man, always an honor, always so much fun to hang out and hopefully there add some value for somebody here. But I enjoyed myself and always love hanging out, brother.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Take care.
Let me just hit.
Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay locked in. Brotherhood is more than business. It's about leading from the front, leveling up in every domain, and becoming the CEO of your own life. Step up, execute, and we'll see you in the next one.